President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's state visit to the United Kingdom is still resonating healthy conversations, given its attendant benefits to Nigeria and the United Kingdom. Leading the interrogation on that visit is Mr. Yemi Edun, author of the book Number One Mission, businessman and philanthropist. He spoke to the diaspora on salient issues, details soon. And 40 out of 42 Nigerians arrested in Mozambique have been deported to Nigeria in controversial circumstances. That's not all on the menu. NIDCOM boss Honorable Abike Daberewa engages Nigerians at Waterloo Regional Municipality, United Kingdom. In Canada, Nigerians are busting bubbles in food diplomacy. NIDCOM boss was at Pizza Food Company, owned by a Nigerian in Canada. And also, another Nigerian in Canada is making waves with Nigerian dishes. Home away from home, you may say. It promises to be engaging. Stick around for details. And do not forget our complimentary segment of Health Tips by Association of Nigerian Physicians in the Americas and PAR, our food corner and our diaspora of the moment. This is your favorite show, The Diaspora. I'm Juliana Vincent Chekubu, your anchor. Please stay. Welcome back. Let's begin the conversation on the just concluded state visit of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to the United Kingdom. The director and producer of the Diaspora, Mr. Gabriel Odu, is in the studio with Mr. Yemi Edun, author, businessman, and philanthropist. Take a listen.
We'll be talking with Mr. Yemi Edun, author and MD, Daniel Ford International. So, he's going to talk to us. We are X-raying just recently, about a week ago. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu had a 2-day state visit to the United Kingdom, where he has audience with the Prime Minister, he had audience with Prince Charles, the King of England. So, a whole lot about it. So, let us have a bird's eye view of what he lives in the UK, and he will tell us what he saw, what's the benefit for Nigeria as a citizen, and the Nigerian in diaspora. He has a lot to let us know. So, Mr. Edun,
thank you.
What do you think about this visit?
Well, thank you so much for the opportunity. It was announced in February that the Nigerian president would be in London on a state visit, which was the first in close to 40 years, 37 years precisely. And you know, you have a generation that have never experienced that. So it was mixed feelings in terms of public view. You know, people are wondering what benefits will it bring. But for us that have a sense of history, I was expectant because the president did not just hop on the plane, he was invited. It's a privileged position to be, for someone to find you worthy to invite you to their home.
Oh.
So Buckingham Palace is the more widely known palace. However, it was undergoing renovation. But Windsor is actually the home of the royal, you know, of the king. So it's a big deal. Now, what happens? Exactly a week before the arrival of the president, the king hosted a select Nigerians living in the UK to St. James's Palace.
Oh.
Another palace. Mm-hmm. You know, that was on the 12th of March. So you had about 100 to 110, and I was there. And it was very intimate, you know. He had a conversation with as many people as possible. what that did was, because without the state visits, many in that room will not have the opportunity to meet the king.
Yeah, I saw you having a handshake with the king. Yeah, and all that.
So then some of us, we've not had a platform to meet. So, and that set the tone for the days ahead. There was another event at the Kensington Palace. Business community was hosted, and businesses from both countries used the opportunity to arrange roundtable, the Commonwealth roundtable, the Nigerian banks, the British Export Board. So there were events every day. There was a day I went for 4 events. Also, as at the last visit, 37 years ago, there was no Nigerian-owned bank in the UK.
Really?
37 years ago. However, today, there are about 7 Nigerian banks in London.
Yeah, as you are talking, my mind just went to something. I just reflected on your book, The Number One Mission. Yeah, talking of bilateral ties and the president visiting President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, visiting after 37 years. And your book, The Number One Mission. What do you make of the bilateral ties between the 2 countries?
I think it's a confirmation of the title of the book. You know, I was of the opinion that London, or indeed the United Kingdom, is the number one mission of Nigeria. There is no country that the president would visit that would attract as much attention. Nobody can beat the Brits when it comes to pomp and pageantry. And you always expect Nigerians to turn up. So, you know, it was a marriage made in heaven. For the people that have fears of the benefit, what I would say is that, one, it was invited. The royal family is different from government. So, in terms of policies, in terms of trade, in terms of the real value, you are going to get that from the parliament and 10 Downing Street. One of the things that we realized was that I think this was the first time in close to 100 years that the palace was hosting a Muslim leader during fast.
Oh, Ramadan.
Yeah, so they had to adjust the timing of the dinner to accommodate that peculiarity. And there was no alcohol on the table. They even had zobo, you know. So they tried as much as possible to accommodate the cultural nuance of both nations. So it's uplifting as well as a people. People don't realize it. You know, what can government really give you? What do you expect from government? Hope, infrastructure. This is one of them. So this was hope. You know, opposite the Buckingham Palace, the road is called the Mall. For the whole of that week, it was the flag of Nigeria and the Union Jack flying.
That is fantastic.
About 42 Nigerians were arrested in Mozambique under controversial circumstances. What happened? Let's find out. The Mozambican authorities claimed they had no proper documentation. All the deportees except one, whose visa expired a day before the deportation, showed evidence of complete documentation. Receiving the deportees at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos, on behalf of Honorable Abike Dabrerewa, Chairman CEO Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, NIDCOM, Mr. Dikpo Odebowale, noted that the Nigerians were not fairly treated by the Mozambique authorities and was optimistic that the Minister of Foreign Affairs would take the matter up with the Mozambican Minister of Foreign Affairs. The returnees were warmly welcomed to Nigeria and the NIDCOM boss expressed sympathy for their unpleasant experience, while encouraging them to maintain a positive outlook for the future. The deportees who arrived via South African Airways flight SA60 reported that they were arrested at their respective business premises in Maputo, detained without committing any offense despite holding valid documents permitting their continued residence in Mozambique. 29 Nigerians remain incarcerated in Maputo and appealed for urgent intervention on their behalf. Among the deportees were all adult males who sought the Commission's assistance in securing justice and redress for the injustice they endured. Diaspora, while appealing to Nigerians to obey laws of countries they reside, emphasized that no Nigerian should be punished for an offense they did not commit. He signed Abdurrahman Balogun, MNIPR, Director of Media, Public Relations and Protocols Unit, NIDCOM, Abuja. Diaspora engagement is strategic to NIDCOM's mandate. That's why the Chairman CEO NIDCOM was at the Waterloo Regional Municipality to feel the pulse of citizens here.
Just asking us, go on the data, register your data, so we know where you are. The difference is that embassies do have, but on one map, you can see all Nigerians all over the world. The numbers. Right now, the biggest number I think we're having is from the UK. So we'll get that across to you so that you can register the data. We have a home and abroad program, which I have no concerns everybody. You want to send money home, particularly to build a house, and then you see no house, you say nothing. Or you want to buy a property. There's a gentleman who was almost crying 2 days ago. I don't know whether he's in the room now. He said, he bought 2 houses in Lekki Estate and no house, money gone, nothing. And I keep saying, some of you send your money to your uncles, not aunties, so women don't cheat. That's your laughter. You're laughing at us. Women, we protest, they're laughing.
Chairman and CEO, Honorable Diaspora, OON, was recently in Canada, actively engaging Nigerians in the diaspora during her visit to Canada, including a heartfelt moment at Pizza, owned by a Nigerian couple, Michael and May Olajide, one of the many businesses owned by our vibrant community in Canada. Another Nigerian in Canada was in Nigeria and visited the Diaspora studio. Enjoy what transpired.
Can we meet you, sir?
Thank you very much, Mr. Gabriel.
You know my name already?
Yes, I know your
name. So, tell us, give us a brief about yourself.
One of the founders of Amin Hospitality Group. Amin Hospitality Group currently owns 2 restaurants in Mississauga, Canada. Mississauga is part of the Greater Toronto area. Amin's restaurant operates like a high-end Nigerian restaurant. It's a fine dining of authentic Nigerian food. It's a la carte, and we have a banquet hall at the back for intimate and elegant events. So you want to eat amala, for example, you come to Amin's restaurant and hall, you order for amala, they put water on fire and make one portion of amala specifically for you.
Amala.
Begiri, ewedu, and
all the
orishi is there.
Wonderful.
So
I'm celebrating already.
My wife started the business. The idea came from her, and she was so passionate about it.
Why do you decide to set a Nigerian restaurant in that part of the country, in Canada?
Okay, so my family moved to Canada in 2011, and as at that time I was still working at oil and gas in Nigeria. So I was on expatriation in France, and then from there I moved my family to Canada. So we were living in Mississauga, and Mississauga is one of the best cities in Canada. So as at that time there were few Nigerians, and when you are in the mall and you hear somebody speaks pidgin, you definitely stop.
Correct.
So and over time the population begins to grow. And as at 2020, there was actually no Nigerian restaurant in Mississauga. So we decided to open one, and that was how we came up with opening the Nigerian restaurant.
Food does not discriminate. I think that restaurant that has Nigerian content, not only Nigerians that come there.
Yes,
right.
We do have all sorts of customers. We've had Indians, Chinese, we've had people of other backgrounds coming to the Nigerian restaurant. In fact, it's so interesting that one of our chefs is a Filipino.
Okay.
So who was actually taught by my wife how to cook Nigerian food. So this guy can make almost all the Nigerian dishes you can think of.
You name them.
And the jam, you can make egusi, eforiro, ogbono. You can make virtually everything.
All these things are there.
Yes.
You said Pando and Pandeyam.
Yes.
You have all of them.
We have all of them.
Yes. So what, as a Nigerian diaspora, what words of encouragement or what can you tell your colleagues out there about homeland investment? Is Nigeria a destination for investment?
Nigeria is obviously a destination for investment. Yes, we have our challenges, we have our peculiarities, and the honest truth is that if you get it right, the returns on investment in Nigeria is also very high, no doubt about it. And it's almost 4 years now since I have been to Nigeria. I used to spend more time in Nigeria before I eventually started spending more time in Canada, and a lot of things have changed. And Nigeria is not constant. Things are moving gradually. Yes, it could be incremental progress, but there are a lot of changes. I was in Lagos for some few days, and I drove on the coastal road from Lekki, from Victoria Island by the Eco Hotel.
Yes.
I drove all the way to Eleko Beach, and it's quite impressive. Because I'm familiar with that area, where you have the landmark, because sometimes I used to go there to eat and things like that. So the level of development I saw over there is quite massive, and definitely it affects all the real estate activities within that area.
Let's take a short break. The Diaspora continues shortly.
We carry our roots wherever we roam. Our culture and pride forever our home. Nigerians in diaspora, we're strong and we're bold. Our spirit unbroken, our hearts made of gold. We rise above borders, our love for Nigeria stays in our hearts, our homeland, every single day, from America to Europe.
Welcome back. Up next is our health tip segment with Ampa Doctor.
What AMPA is doing with telemedicine is a little different. Whereas we have a lot of apps that are episodic in nature, you call when you have a cold, you see someone, but you don't see the same doctor, there's no management of any chronic disease. AMPA brings to the fore a new program of continuity of care.
Our food corner is here with Barbara. Babs, what's cooking?
Thank you, Julie. Welcome back to Food Corner, where simple ingredients are turned into magic. Today, we will be making a popular dish, yam and egg, but in an elevating way. Join me, let's go see how to make this.
See, in this life, people will show you shaggy and they'll expect you not to change your behavior towards them. But that's not why we're here. Today, I'm going to show you how to make yam and eggs in an elevated manner. What I did first was to cook my yam, which I cut in bite-sized pieces, and now I'm making my sauce. In this pan, I've got some cooking oil, onions, prawns, some green seasoning. I also added some vegetables, some carrots, and of course, I seasoned it to perfection. And I added some Scotch bonnet peppers because what is life without pepper? I beat my eggs, and I'm going to add my fried mixture into my eggs and added some cheese. But I mean, if you don't have cheese, you can totally skip it. Once your yams are done, add them. Oh, please don't forget to sieve the water. Don't add the water with the yam. So stir everything. You're going to pour this into a baking dish and it's going to go into your air fryer oven or your regular oven. Add some more cheese if you like. And when it's cooked, this is what it's going to look like. This is so easy to eat and super delicious.
That was very simple, right? This is a dish that you can make at home, even those in the diaspora. Thank you so much for joining us on Food Corner today. See you next week. I remain Barbara Bison.
Now to our Diaspora of the Moment with Esther Otiotio presenting.
Our Diaspora of the Moment is Mayor Ukeme Jetta. Ukeme holds a JD from Case Western Reserve University School of Law, an MBA from the University of Massachusetts Lowell, and a BS in Mechanical Engineering from the University of Maine, where she competed as a Division I track and field athlete. As an engineer, licensed attorney, and community leader, Ukeme's career has been defined by solving complex challenges, building consensus, and delivering results for residents. In 2021, she made history as the first person of color elected to Upper Arlington City Council in its 103-year history. In January 2024, her council peers selected her to serve as president and mayor for a 2-year term again, the first person of color to hold this position. Ukeme lives in Upper Arlington's Greensview neighborhood with her 2 children and their dog. She has served on numerous community boards, including the inaugural Community Relations Committee, Leadership Upper Arlington, Class of 2019, the Ohio Legal Help Board of Directors, and United Way of Central Ohio's Diversity and Inclusion Advisory Council. Living by the mantra, be the change you wish to see, Ukeme embodies this philosophy in her leadership and advocacy for Upper Arlington. Congratulations, Mayor Ukeme Jetta. We celebrate you as our Diaspora of the Moment.
That's the Diaspora for this week. Keep a date next week for another interesting episode of your favorite show, The Diaspora. I'm Juliana Vincent Jacobu. Stay positive.